Hey, this is Pradeep with Sensatura, and today we are looking at 1957 from the Lace Exclusive collection by Chanel. It's been a while since I've talked about a fragrance from this collection. Hope to discuss more soon. This is a 2019 release composed by the Reno's perfumer Olivier Poge. Believe it's his third exclusive after Misia and Boy. This was released directly as an eau de parfum, just like Boy. The rest of the fragrances that came before were reformulated in 2016, I believe. This was launched to commemorate the reopening of their boutique on the 57th Street, New York. So it is one of the few named after a number from this collection. It's when her fashion was fully recognized in the US, especially designs emphasizing comfort were embraced. So it's kind of like a nod to the connection between France and the US itself, as the brand would put it. Also, 19th being her birth date and 57 being the street number. Speaking of comfort and optimism, they decided this composition is going to be focused on clean white masks. So what else does it have to offer? It's very much what you would expect from a lace exclusive, working within the same framework, using similar notes and whatnot. It is also beautifully abstract, as is the case with many compositions within this lineup. The musk component is really the dominant one. After spending some time, some other notes are perceivable. Initially, there is some clean, fresh lemon, along with this relatively mild dose of aldehydes, and this brings in the aromatic nuances. Olivier Poge seems to be using these notes to create this sort of simmering effect in his compositions. Some soft, cool, peppery, spicy facets come through, nothing pungent or sharp. From the get-go, it's bright, sheer, and clean. White is the color that keeps coming up in terms of visual references for me. White florals too, notably this really fresh, airy, aloof jasmine. Nothing endolic or heady, very approachable, still well done. Ever so little drizzle of honeyed sweetness in there. Then of course you can't have a Chanel without the signature iris. Here it is more of a floral, slightly powdery iris for me, not too earthy. Ultimately, they are all serving this central arrangement of musks. Apparently, there are 7 types of synthetic musks used here by the perfumer. But these are not your animalic, funky style of musks. These are fresh, clean, uplifting, white musks basically. They come across a bit different on repeated wearings. At times, they are extremely clean and fresh. Other times, they have this silvery, luminous quality. And yet, some other time, they feel soapy, cottony, soft laundry-like. They also oscillate between warm and cool. Then there's also cashmere, which brings in this clean, sensual skin-like facets. Eventually, they do find their equilibrium, coming together as this neutral musk scent, except not boring in this case. In the further dry down, I get some hints of woodiness, cedar and vetiver maybe, but it's mostly the multifaceted musks that make for the actual wearing experience. If I think of a setting, imagine spring morning, like at a Parisian hotel or apartment, fully painted white, some cool breeze and sunlight coming through the linen shades, and you are in your bed wrapped up in some clean white sheets. Maybe a floral bouquet and some lemon tea on the table. That sort of image is what I get when I smell this. It lasts a good amount of time for what can come across like a soft scent, 7 to 8 hours, even longer if I get a few sprays on clothes. Diffusion is on the softer side for me. And just like the other exclusives, you sort of have to meet this halfway, and then it becomes your own scent basically. Lends itself to spring, summer, daytime kind of occasions, but really you can wear it anywhere, anytime. I've worn it to the office and even to the bed, and it still works. Unisex leaning feminine in the traditional sense, of course. Again, anyone can pull this off as long as they enjoy it. Pricing is going to be the hard part. In fact, it might have gone up since this video started. Let me check here. So, as of April 2025, in France, it is 440 euros for 200 ml and 250 euros for 75 ml. That is quite steep. Unfortunately, it only keeps going up. Not a good look, especially with the kind of news that's coming about luxury brands these days. I did not pay anywhere near that kind of amount for this. In fact, I think I paid the least for this amongst the others I own from this collection. I don't think I would ever pay that much for a musk fragrance, or really any fragrance at this point. I quite like the scent for what it is. It is not my favorite lace exclusive or anything. It is also not my least favorite, so it will probably be somewhere in the middle, I think. I usually struggle with a lot of clean musk fragrances, in that they are either too simple, synthetic, or flat out boring. This is certainly an exception, along with the likes of Fleur de Peau from Diptyque or Dante Bras and L'Eau d'Hiver from Frederic Malle. Really adore those creations. Speaking of which, the more time I spend with the lace exclusives from Olivier Polge, the more I'm convinced he is a big fan of Guerlain, notably the classic florals, even more specifically Après l'Ondée. I say that because at least 3 of his creations seem to take threads from it, apart from Le Lion, which is inspired by Shalimar, of course. You had the violet rose makeup-like elements in Misia, then the heliotrope iris combo for Comète, and here it seems to be the anisik sheer musky base. Of course, we can get into even more connections within this web. The musk in here reminds me of Comète. The same perfumer also did Cuir Beluga for Guerlain. They also share similarities with the Frederic Malle fragrances that I mentioned, L'Eau d'Hiver, Lipstick Rose, and Dante Bras, which themselves are inspired by Après l'Ondée. So a lot of overlaps going on here. Maybe that shows both the proficiencies and the shortcomings of mainstream French perfumery. Not to mention the ton of minimalistic, hip musk fragrances that have flooded the market the last few years. This almost seems like Chanel's response to this molecular musk fragrance trend in their own way, creating a retro-modern, traditional musk composition with this languid elegance. There have been some criticisms, to be fair, saying it's too simple or boring and of course overpriced, and I can certainly understand why. I really enjoy it myself for what it is, but it's certainly not for everyone. For instance, I've introduced this collection to quite a few friends, even been with them when they got to smell them for the first time. Not once did one of them pick this out as their favorite. In fact, some can't remember what it smelled like. So I was thinking maybe it's more for people who already know, own, and enjoy the other lace exclusives. In fact, I myself started appreciating this better after a couple of passes over the collection. Moreover, choosing to wear this is almost like a statement implying that you have the other heavy hitters at home and you chose to be quiet today. But then I have also heard the opposite from some others online who recently discovered this collection, in that they felt the other exclusives were too classy, perfumey, and this neutral, relatively approachable scent is what made them interested in the collection. What I am trying to say is it can go both ways, so proper testing is needed. I still enjoy it for what it has to offer. Like I said, there are others from this collection I prefer, but I do think this has its place. Another page to the novelistic approach of this lineup. It's been consistent for over a century in a way, with no discontinuations. That's quite remarkable. Can't think of another single collection which has made it this far. Polge has navigated the musk domain without falling into any traps, which I appreciate, because there is really nowhere to hide here. If anything, I would have liked to have something, maybe a layer of musks bringing a little more of the suggestive sensual attribute that a lot of the exclusives have. That would resonate even more with me. Nonetheless, within this class of fresh, cloudy, billowy, second skin-like musk compositions, this is certainly a standout. So, that's been my thoughts on 1957 from the Lace Exclusive collection by Chanel. And as always, thanks for watching, take care, and ciao.